On today's episode of Phinside The NFL, are the Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa's camp not close on a contract extension? We'll discuss that. Plus, on the second day of OTAs, where media, local media that is, was allowed to be in attendance, just like I theorized yesterday on the show, Tua Tagovailoa did not attend, but it was for an already pre-approved reason. We will discuss all of that. Plus, Jevon Holland made some interesting comments about Vic Fangio as well as his contract. We will talk about takeaways from Mike McDaniel's presser with the media today. So much to talk about. Do me the favor, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into this.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, man open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. It's not over the touchdown again!
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. And man, your boy's already back off vacation, already getting demonetized. Hey, oh, my video from 2 days ago that's hovering around 9,000 views. NFL Network came through today and said, "Oh, you played a Cameron Wolfe segment, ping," and it demonetized that. So today I'm going to be playing a video from Cameron Wolfe, but I'll have a still frame from the segment with the audio attached. So that's how I'll do it, how I usually do things when I know people are going to demonetize me, my workaround. So we'll be playing that later, but your boy's already back stirring the pot, huh? So, yesterday I talked about Justin Jefferson and saying, hey, people, this is a real holdout. This is a real holdout. Well, okay. Let's discuss further. In 2020, go back, my OGs who have been watching me since the Tuesday night panel and been watching me since this channel opened in March 2020. There were 4 players in the first round of the 2020 NFL draft where the Miami Dolphins had 3 first-round picks. In the chat, who were the 4 players I said the Miami Dolphins needed to select 3 of? Name them in the chat right now. They did catch me slipping, Woodson. You already know. I see someone said they got suspended. Brother, that's on the chat. That's not on me. So take that up with my mods. Name. Okay. Oh, Ian Baller. He got 3 of the 4. Tua, Wirfs, and Jonathan Taylor. Right? You got 3 of the 4. You got 3 of the 4, right? You got 3 of the 4. The other one was Antoine Winfield Jr., right? I said you get 3 of these 4 players. Yeah, it's Taylor, Tua, Wirfs. Yeah. So, okay. The 4 were, as a couple of you got in the chat already, Taylor, Tua, Wirfs, and Antoine Winfield. I said, hey, you get 3 of those 4 players, right? And I wanted Wirfs no matter what, because I said, I don't care. You can find the receipts if you go back and look for them on the Tuesday night panel. I said, I don't care if you draft Burrow, Herbert, Tua, Jordan Love, whoever. At the time, I said, I want a wall like what's in Indianapolis or Oakland. Because remember, all the Oakland guys hadn't started falling off their cliffs yet. Back then, they would not fall far after. But also, Indianapolis at that point had a fantastic line, right? Quentin Nelson was in his prime, et cetera, et cetera. So I said, I don't care who the quarterback is. You need to build this wall. And here we are. I'm still saying this. But Tristan Wirfs. He was like one of those guys I wanted no matter what, right? In October, I caught a lot of people off guard when I entered this community when everyone was saying, hey, Andrew Thomas is the clear-cut number 1. Your boy was raising his hand and saying, no. Tristan Wirfs is the clear-cut number 1. And just like you guys remember the arguments I got in with people just over Penei Sewell, right? I started talking about Penei Sewell actually in that same draft cycle 2 years before he came out. And then when he was about to come out, we needed a right tackle. I got people arguing with me that Hunt was our answer at right tackle. I said, y'all are crazy. He's a guard. And then to other people were saying, oh, he can't make the switch to right tackle. You remember those days where I actually went out and dug up high school film of Penei Sewell playing right tackle, and I was just deading those conversations, destroying people with it. Anyways, I digress. I say all that to say this. Tristan Wirfs, I talked about Justin Jefferson yesterday. Tristan Wirfs, that's a holdout. That's a holdout. All right, in case people don't know what I'm talking about, Tristan Wirfs today, he didn't report to OTAs at all. And he doesn't plan to in the immediate future because he wants a long-term contract and doesn't want to risk the injury. And both sides apparently have not even made progress on a new deal. Listen, I'm sorry, Austin Jackson. I love what you've done. If you could go get, I would trade a first-round pick right now for Tristan Wirfs. I'm sorry, I would. We all expect us to make a playoff run, right? Right? So at worst, we're probably going to be picking at 21, 22. Are you going to find a player better than at 21 and 22 than Tristan Wirfs right now? Ask yourself that question. And then I would shift Jackson back to left tackle. That's what I would do. I'm not even playing it right now. I'm not even playing. They haven't even, see, that's the one thing I've said about the Tua deal. You haven't heard, oh, they're so far apart. Or, oh, there's been no progress. You have not heard that about Tua. When I hear there's been no progress about Tristan Wirfs, listen, I'm picking up that phone. I ain't lying. Terran Armstead's about to hit the dirt. That man's about to hit the pay dirt. And listen, I'm sorry. Austin, you can go back to left guard for 1 year, brother. I would have Armstead, Austin, Brewer, Wynn, Eichenberg, and Driscoll battling for right guard and Tristan Wirfs at right tackle. I wouldn't even hesitate. Listen, Black Sheep, I expect us to be picking in 28 and higher. So I'm just saying the floor for making the playoffs is 21, 22. The ceiling is that pick is, at, if everything goes our way, 32. I'm just using that floor ceiling approach. Listen, Patrick Paul, cool. Sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I wouldn't even hesitate. Patrick Paul needs so much work, and listen, that gives you even more. Okay, guess what? How long is Austin Jackson's contract running for? Right? Let's be honest here. That gives you no pressure on Patrick Paul. You want to talk about a player I would trade for? Because, it's over in 2026, right? His extension. So 2024, 2025, 26, 3 years. And you don't know what's going to happen. And he can play left guard. We've seen Austin Jackson play left guard. I'm not saying he's good or great at left guard, but I'm saying with his coaching staff, I think he could be better than what he was when we previously saw him at guard, right? And then you could have Patrick Paul and Armstead at left guard, your poor man's version of Brandon Albert and Laremy Tunsil. I would, listen, if there's no progress on a deal, I bet you they'd take a first-round pick for him. Now, would I do the fact we drafted Patrick Paul? Would I start getting into, okay, here's a first, a third, and a fifth? No. I would call them and say, listen, I'll give you a first-round pick right now. I will take you. And one thing we've learned is you can never have enough offensive line depth. Because we all know Isaiah Wynn, based on, here's the two things we know. Armstead ain't going to play the full season, and Isaiah Wynn ain't going to play the full season. Well, I shouldn't say it with so much assurity. History tells us the odds of both those two playing a full season is not likely. So you got Armstead. You're gonna need Austin potentially a guy to switch to left guard and left tackle anyways. I'm just saying, like, man. So that transition for Austin Jackson might happen this season anyways. If you were to get a Wirfs, if you were to go trade for Wirfs. Listen, I think there's like a 5% chance this trade happens. I'm just making the argument for it. Because it makes sense if you think about it. We know that there's like I put a 5% chance on this trade happening. Well, there's also a 95% chance we got to replace the left side at some point this season. What would you feel more comfortable with? Austin Jackson, who knows this coaching staff. You have a guy who could kick into right tackle so Jackson can move to left tackle, and you could have 2 bookend tackles? Or would you rather keep Jackson at right tackle and see how it works with Kendall Lamb? Kendall Lamb's a guy you want playing 2 or 3 games, not like 6, 7, or 8. Just saying. And then what the hell's the answer at left guard right now? Do we really want to see Robert Jones? He wasn't that great last year when he got his chance. Do we really, because he doesn't fit. Do we really want to see, he comes from more of a gap, right? Do we really want to see, like what's the answer here? Do we want to see one of these UDFAs filling in? God help us. Deontay Moore says add Vita Vea to the deal for 3rd in return. Buddy, listen, if I get Tristan Wirfs and Vita Vea for 1st and a 3rd, please. So I'm just saying, and I'm not even accounting into what Driscoll or Eichenberg, whoever wins that right guard position, is going to wind up being. I'm not even accounting to, okay, who's our backup center right now? Eichenberg? Well, no, we want him in that starting right guard job, potentially him or Driscoll. Now, if he loses that battle and he becomes our backup center right guard, then okay, that makes sense. But if he's starting, who's our backup? Again, we're leaning on like a UDFA. I'm not even getting into those issues. The depth at center and the right guard battle and how that might work out with whoever starts. I'm not even getting into those. I'm just talking about the left side. I'm just saying. So, hey, I can make a freaking compelling argument for Tristan Wirfs. I'm just saying. If you sit back and evaluate the situation objectively, I can make a very valid argument. But that's a holdout, right? Listen, everyone, what did I say? You could hear crickets yesterday when Tua showed up for OTAs, right? Here come all the people out from under their rock today when Tua Tagovailoa goes to a pre-approved absence to a Nick Saban, which Mark Ingram was at, to a Nick Saban charity event, right? And they leave out they when they talk about this, they conveniently leave out that this is voluntary. So okay, let's play the holdout game, right? So if Tua's holding out, I want you to answer me this. Why was Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Odell Beckham Jr., Raheem Mostert, Jonnu Smith, Jalen Ramsey, Zach Sealer, Kendall Fuller, and Shaq Barrett also absent today? Are they holding out? You really want to, and I don't want to hear he's the quarterback, he should be there. OBJ just signed with this team. If anyone on that list from Tua to Tyreek to Waddle to OBJ to Raheem to Jonnu to Jalen Ramsey, Sealer to Kendall Fuller and Shaq Barrett, if there's any guys that should be there, it's OBJ, Jonnu Smith, Kendall Fuller, and Shaq Barrett. They're all new. But notice how they're all veterans? So, what do we got? 10 people holding out? We got 10 veterans holding out, including guys that just arrived. Is that what's happening right now? Ian Baller just drops the mic drop. Jalen Hurts was at the event with Tua. Is Jalen Hurts holding out? He's not happy with his new contract he just signed, Ian Baller. So he's holding out already. He said, you know what? Screw this. I'm holding out. See? how these fear mongers work? Right? They can't provide you good enough insight, good enough football takes, good enough takeaways, good enough information, or cover what's going on good enough to keep y'all captivated. So they gotta talk about this kind of stuff. It was crickets on Twitter yesterday. It was crickets on Facebook. It was crickets on YouTube regarding Tua showing up for the first day of OTAs and keeping his word like he said he would at the luau. Crickets! You could hear the cricket. You could hear the baby crickets. Even the adult crickets weren't talking. It was the baby crickets. The newborn crickets. Those are what you heard. Even the adults were like, I'm not even going to talk about it. And they'll try to flip. And these people, the same people who do no charity in their community, who do nothing productive in their community, have put no money in their community, they'll try and villainize a guy who's at a charity event that was pre-approved, a pre-approved absence from the team, a charity event. Think about that one. You want to talk about hypocrites? Think about that one for a sec. Put that in your pipe, light it, and inhale. Right? They'll try and villainize this guy over going to a charity event, but they ain't doing not even a shred of what he does in the community. These people aren't giving back like he is. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. Yes, Jason Meyer was an excused absence. We'll get into all of that. But I will say this. We got to talk about this. Pivot from Tua for just one sec. The good news was, right, Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb were working out on the sideline. So was Chop Robinson and Cam Smith. But Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb were putting in workout on the sideline. So that's a good thing. I still don't think Chubb will be. I think out of the two, if I was a betting man, I would bet on Jalen Phillips coming back first. And if I was a betting man and you said, okay, gun to your head reason, pick who's going to be back for the opener, I would put Jalen Phillips. I do not think Chubb's going to be there for the opener. So, you know. Oh, yeah, they'll say, oh, he skipped, the golf today. But they won't say it was for a charity event and it was a pre-approved absence from the team. They won't add that. They won't even add that and stress that it's voluntary and it doesn't even need to be there. Mandatory minicamp isn't until June 4th, 5th, and 6th. Listen, I don't get it. But the good thing is Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb working out on the sideline. That's positive. Remember Joe Shad, when we went over the storylines yesterday, said that was one of the things that people should be looking for, and I agree with that 110%. You know, if they weren't working out and they weren't doing much and you didn't see them, then there'd be a little cause for concern. But there doesn't appear to be. They appear to be on schedule. So let's see how that goes. So there is some good takeaways from players who are missing today. But again, a lot of players were out today. Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, OBJ, Raheem Mostert, Jonnu Smith, Jalen Ramsey, Zach Sealer, Kendall Fuller, Shaq Barrett, all absent from today. Not just one player, all absent from today. And then you got a guy like Tristan Wirfs and Justin Jefferson yesterday. Guys who are actually holding out, not even showing up for the first day, with reports indicating no immediate future. See, this is, it goes back to what me and Scotty, who was in the chat, were talking about, and I agreed with him because that's the point I was making. Athletes First is making this negotiation public. I mean, that's clearly what's happening right now. And this could be on, hey, we want to get this done. This could be as simple as Tua saying, hey, I don't want this hovering over my head. Go get me my money. Go get this done. So then what's a place like Athletes First going to turn around and do? Apply pressure. And it's clearly they're applying pressure. They're making the negotiations a little bit more public, right? In the terms of what we heard on Friday and then Sunday with, just after a Cam Wolfe report, 48 hours after Cam Wolfe report, where both sides were optimistic something was going to get done. All of a sudden we're hearing, he's missed a chunk of OTAs because of the contract situation. 48, and then 48 hours later, he's rejected at least one deal. And we know what the play was there. They didn't get the sympathy or the pushback about, missing OTAs because myself, people on Dolphins Twitter, we saw through, we saw the holes in the story and we put the receipts out there for all y'all. And now what? Then they flipped the story to, he's rejected deals to make it look like Greer and them aren't doing their job good enough. But we have yet to hear they are far apart on money, et cetera, et cetera. So clearly Athletes First is now ramping up the pressure. They want to get this done. So now I don't know whether that's a mandate from Tua, get this done. I don't know whether that's they want to get this done before there's a chance of injury this season and it affects his money. I don't know whether it's the framework is pretty much agreed upon, but it's the nitty gritty of the contract details. And they're like, we just want this and it's coming down to guaranteed money. We want this bump up. I don't know. There could be various reasons why. So we're going to get into OTAs. Let's start off with some Tua contract stuff. We were just talking about it. And where we are going to start today is here. Adam Schefter, after I was live yesterday, this clip came out. Multiple accounts on X posted this clip from, recorded from the phone, etc. So I found the best quality one that I could play because there's something key that Adam Schefter talks about here. And then I'm going to play, we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to go into Cameron Wolfe, who had a report that came out yesterday. So we're going to talk about both these things. So let's start off with, and then we'll get into OTA stuff.
So let's begin with OTAs. Okay, we're going to focus in on Miami, where Tua Tagovailoa, of course, is a big piece of the conversation. He's going to make just over $23 million this year on his fifth-year rookie option, the 14th highest cap hit amongst quarterbacks. He's set to be a free agent at the end of the year, and the Dolphins could extend him, but the quarterback contracts have been pretty pricey. Or they could tag him after this season, but the QB tag was over $38 million for this year and figures to be higher next year. So let's go right to Adam on this. We did see Tua
listen to what Adam says here
today. So he's there. What's the latest on his contract situation?
Well, the fact that he's there is a good start, Laura. Both sides would like to see if they could find a way to get a contract extension worked out. There's really no reason for Tua to stay away from the team during OTAs when this team has been fully behind him while they're trying to get a contract worked out. My understanding is it's not particularly close at this point in time, but both sides would like to get this deal done, wrapped up as soon as possible. You would think before the season would begin. The issue would be this. Tua right now is scheduled, as you pointed out, to count just over $23.5 million. We just saw Jared Goff get done last week to an average of about $53 million a year. So now we've begun to see some of the other comparable quarterback deals out there. Are the Dolphins willing to go that high? Is Tua willing to hold out for a little bit more? How does that work out? And how does it work out with his injury history, specifically his history of concussions? Is he willing to go into a season without a new deal, playing with his history? Are the Dolphins taking that into consideration? A lot of questions to answer here for both sides. The fact of the matter is, he's there today. Both sides want to get this worked out. There's still plenty of time to get it worked out, and we'll see if they can get it done at some point this summer.
Yeah, the truth is, Tua is the best quarterback the Dolphins have had since Dan Marino. This is the longest streak in the NFL when it comes to an organization not having a playoff win. 23 years.
This is what Dan says here.
This is by far the most realistic it is to ending that streak with Tua at quarterback. Schefter's point. There's two angles to this, and it's not an easy decision. Tua the player, like just the quarterback on the field, you sit there and say, no brainer, pay him. When you look at the player, the last two seasons, He's top 5 in everything that matters when it comes to quarterback play. This would be one of the easiest contracts.
That. Come on.
This would be
top 5
Joe
last
Burrow.
2
This
years.
would be Josh Allen. This would be Patrick Mahomes when it comes to
anyone tell you different is a liar.
There's 2 sides to this, though, and Schefter kind of intimated that. If you're the Dolphins, you're sitting there going, injury history. This dates back all the way to college, okay? The ankle, the dislocated hip. He had a finger, the thumb, the broken ribs in the NFL, the concussion that Schefter talks about, but also back and ankle. So there's one side that says, yeah, I mean, what's the number? You name it. And then there's another side that's a very real part of this for the Dolphins, that you can understand them having some form of reservation. And I hate saying that because I love Tua, but that's a reality between both parties.
See, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I've said this before. I see both sides. And I've said this. I think this is coming down to guaranteed money and the playtime incentives built in. I think that's where we're at with this hiccup. Like, for example, okay? Jared Goff got about, $43 million guaranteed per year when you average it out, right? I believe that's the number. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's like $43 million is what the guarantee per year is. Someone can put that in the chat if I'm wrong. What I think you're getting into here is he knows how bad this offense is without him, okay? I think you would need to hit, like, let's say it's a 4-year deal, right? Or, okay, well, let's go 5 years. If it's a 5-year deal, I think it needs to be like $55 million per year and 45-ish million guaranteed. I had this conversation with an Dolphin fan, and this is what we basically both said. So what do I think? What does that mean, right? Over 5 years at $45 million, we're talking about, well, the total money, like I said, would be about $275, and I think the guaranteed money you'd have to come in around like 220-ish, 225-ish. Now, if it's a 4-year deal at 55, right? That's about 220, and then I think you probably have to come in around 180 of that is guaranteed at 220. I think that's where we're at right now. And I could see them probably being in the more, they're looking to guarantee like 40-ish million per year. Whether that be 41, 42. And the difference in guaranteed money, like, remember, over that 4-year deal, 225 and 180, the difference in guaranteed money is like 20 million, because now you're down to 160. And then if you do that over 5 years, they're only guaranteeing about 200 of the 275, which, I mean, given his injury history, I mean, at least his agency, I'd really be taking that and running. But Tua is also betting on himself, where if I'm healthy again in this offense and I'm in that MVP conversation, we're now talking 65 million with like 50 to 55 million a year guaranteed. And I think that's what you're starting to get into. And this is where the market's going. And I said it before, I'll say it again. Guys, I put up the numbers yesterday. Go compare Trevor Lawrence and Tua Tagovailoa and their numbers. Tua's played one more game, and he's crushing them in every major statistical category for a quarterback. The guy's like, Trevor Lawrence is like a 12 to 15 guy. Tua Tagovailoa is like a top 5 to top 8 guy. And the word is Trevor Lawrence is going to get 50 plus million a year. You better get this done before Trevor Lawrence gets his money, because all that's going to do is continue to support to athletes' first cause of getting more money. I'm telling you, man. And then now, and then he balls out this year. Now what? You either got to give in to that money or you got to take a hard cap hit of over $40 million to the cap on a franchise tag. That is not ideal. Because if you sign him right now, listen, I've already gone over the numbers. At $55 million, when that contract kicks in next year with the cap going up $30 million, you're not even at 20% of the cap, and they'll restructure it and push money back. It goes over 3 years. It goes down from about 19.75% down to like just between 16.5. I mean, I'll do the number by year 3, right? Year 3 in that contract at $55 million. If it going up, like it's expected to go up, right? $90 million over the next 3 years. So you're talking about 16% by year 3 of the cap, 15.9%. And year 1 of that contract, when it's kicking in, when this cap goes up to about 285, you're at about 19.3%. So it goes from year 1, 19.3%, all the way down to 15.9% over the first 3 years. That's why you got to look, sure, $55 million looks big now, but that's also not the guaranteed money. But I'm talking about the overall number. Looks big now, but it in the grand scheme of things, it is not. While next year, guys are going to be setting at 60 to 65 million. Balling out ain't an if anymore in this offense for Tua. It's a matter of when he's healthy. I mean, he led the league in passing last year. I don't want to hear that he didn't ball out. Name the last quarterback that did that. That hadn't happened since Marino. First Dolphins quarterback to go to the Pro Bowl since 1995. Like, this is not even a discussion. So anyways, Wolfe had this to say, Cameron Wolfe. Now remember, this is the audio attached to a screenshot because they demonetized my video from a couple days ago. So check this out. This is what Cameron Wolfe had to say on the situation, because it's interesting to hear the different sides. Now listen, remember, he's plugged into the organization and to his camp.
Tua was in the building. Number one was throwing passes. I'm told he did everything as normal today, the first day of OTAs. And as you mentioned, he forecasted that. He said, I'm going to be at OTAs. I'm going to leave all the contract stuff to my agent, Ryan Williams. And right now, contract negotiations are still ongoing. Nothing imminent yet, from what I understand. But I talked to some people around Tua and the Dolphins, and I haven't got the feel that there's much concern about this. I know Dolphins fans were hitting the panic button when some reports came out. Hey, he's not around all the time. He's skipping some of the meetings. A little context there. I mean, Tua's traveling a little bit back and forth from Cali. He has a private quarterback coach in John Beck that he's been going back and forth from Miami to Cali from. He also has a growing family he spent time with. And so he's not just sitting at his hands and saying, I'm not doing anything until you pay me my money. That's not the way he's rolling. In fact, I'll tell you this, he's down to 220 pounds from what I understand. He dropped 10 to 15 pounds this offseason already from the 230s where he was last year. He wants to be agile, a little bit more escapability from the bulked up version that was in the 230s last year. And so talking with people close to Tua and with the Dolphins, I still anticipate they get a deal done before the start of the regular season. And yes, I anticipate it being over $50 million a year like Jared Goff got.
There you go. There you go. And he expected to be over. He said this twice now. From after Goff got it to there, that he expects to be over $50 million and what Goff got. What does that tell you? That to his camp and the Miami Dolphins have already accepted that. I've already come to that reality. I'm telling you, it's the details and the guaranteed money. That's what this is coming down to. I would not be shocked if they are like, for example, a 4-year deal. I would not be shocked if they're at like between 53 to 55 million per year. They're like, yeah, that's cool, but we're only guaranteeing you about 40 million of that a year. when they're probably saying, no, we want in the 45 range. And then now the next detail, okay, the incentives and the details, I guarantee you, we read an article where someone, Marcel Louis-Jacques put out, someone who's been involved in these type of negotiations said, agents will balk at playtime incentives for quarterbacks. Think about this, the Bengals. Sure, they went to the Super Bowl, they lost. Sure, they found playoff success with Joe Burrow, but he's missed more time than Tua Tagovailoa. You think if they couldn't redo their contract, they would give him around the same money, but say there'd be way more incentives, playtime incentives, ridden throughout that contract? The Bengals would redo that if they could. I see confusion about John Beck. I believe John Beck, I have the number. John Beck is the quarterback coach for around 30 quarterbacks in the NFL. Because he works with Tom House at 3D QB. I'm pretty sure the number's around 30. It's like 28 to 30 quarterbacks, and the majority of those are starting quarterbacks in the NFL. So John Beck is actually the elite of the elite in terms of, I know, hey, we all watched him play. Gives you hope it gives you faith Rosen might have a job in coaching quarterbacks after he's done. But John Beck is actually one of the best quarterback coaches in the NFL. Joe Holt says, reason keeps it real. Appreciate you, sir. Exactly. And just like people who have come out here and said, this is Tua's first quarterback coach, it is not. If you actually do the research in the history, I put it up here. I've shown you photos. Through Perform, he was already working with Wes Carroll of quarterback prep. So all that happened is Tua upped his game at quarterback coach. But yeah, I think it's you can look up the number, but it's around 28 to 30 quarterbacks in the NFL use Tua Tagovailoa. Use John Beck as their quarterback coach, and the majority of those are starting quarterbacks in the NFL and like big names. So it's not really surprising when you actually research the situation, but I get it. Not everyone's got time to do that, right? So, but I digress. You got Tua here. And again, what did Cam Wolfe said? There's basically no reason to panic. This is going to get done before the start of the regular season. Again, training camp, which is what we keep hearing, right? That's what we keep hearing over and over again. Training camp, training camp, training camp. So, let's get into OTAs. We got a couple things to go over here. We'll go to the Sun Sentinel for today. Over 380 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. And let's get into this. All right. So, Sun Sentinel, David Ferona's observations. It was no surprise the first question Miami Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel, who last spoke with the media last month as the team wrapped up its draft, took from reporters at Tuesday's organized team activity session was about quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. A Friday report revealed Tagovailoa has missed more voluntary offseason workouts with the team than years past. The quarterback, though, was present for Monday's first OTA before McDaniel addressed his absence Tuesday. He said Tagovailoa has been both with the team and hasn't been with the team during the offseason. He has been here for offseason activities. He has not been here for offseason activities, McDaniel said. He has been both. The quarterback, though, was not present for Tuesday's OTA session, an absence that was previously scheduled with the team as Tagovailoa attended his college coach Nick Saban's charity golf event. Like Ian Baller in the chat pointed out, this was also attended by Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts skipped today's OTA to come. McDaniel did not want to get into Tagovailoa's contract situation as the quarterback seeks a lucrative extension this offseason. He's letting Chris Greer, Tagovailoa's representation handle that. I don't want any of that in my life, McDaniel quipped. With outside linebackers Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb both recovering from season-ending injuries, the Dolphins coach remained consistent on not placing a timeline on both of them. They're doing great day by day, he offered, as neither participated in the session but worked out on the side Tuesday. Have to keep an eye on both those guys to make sure they're not doing too much. We're just being very mindful of who the players are that we're getting back to full health and really protecting the Miami Dolphins against the individuals themselves that they'll do too much too soon. McDaniel revealed that this preseason, the Dolphins will hold joint practices against all 3 preseason opponents, a switch from normally doing 2 against 2 different teams. So there you go. All 3 joint practices. Miami will have 2 joint practices this August at home against the Atlanta Falcons, 1 against the Washington Commanders in Miami Gardens, and 1 with the Bucs in Tampa. Ooh. Does your boy come out for a joint practice? Training camp just got interesting. I might come out for joint practices and a preseason game. That kind of makes sense. Anyways, thinking out loud, McDaniel noted the varied looks and techniques the Dolphins can get from seeing more opponents in that setting. That will be a breath of fresh air to see anybody else, McDaniel said. McDaniel spoke publicly for the first time since Miami signed OBJ. In the offseason, you're constantly trying to find ways for your team to get better, McDaniel said. I see a passion for football still at the forefront of his mind, and he saw the fit. McDaniel quipped on how Beckham can be helpful on the Dolphins on third downs, which is what I've talked about. Hopefully getting open and catching the football for first downs. So here's some practice observations from David Furones. Phillips and Chubb were among players seen working out on the side of practice. Neither was wearing any protective brace or compression and watched team portions of practice. Phillips had a noticeable limp as he walked along the sideline. Joining Tagovailoa among players not participating in OTA session were wide receivers Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Beckham, running back Raheem Mostert, Terron Armstead, cornerbacks Jalen Ramsey and Kendall Fuller, defensive tackle Zach Sealer, and outside linebacker Shaq Barrett. Remember, Zach Sealer did a hold out last year and got a new extension. I mean, are all these guys holding out? We've got new players and guys who have been recently extended, but are they all holding out? Someone let me know. I'm confused about this. Huh? I don't know what's happening. I don't know. What's happening here? So, yeah. Right? Rookie running back Jalen Wright, who was wearing a helmet cam during drills, vomited towards the end of Tuesday's session. A warm introduction to the South Florida heat and humidity. Jalen Wright out here vomiting. I love it. We got Darren Drozdov all over again. I'm here for it. Among players who made impressive plays at drills, new tight end Jody Fortson. What did I tell y'all? What did I tell all of you? Not only did I suggest that Tua might not even show up today, and I didn't even know about his charity event. Not only did I suggest he might because the media was there, but look at this. Did I not tell y'all Gavin Hardison would look good in the underwear Olympics? And Jody Fortson caught a 45-yard touchdown deep from quarterback Gavin Hardison. Fortson beat Nick Needham, who was splitting time between safety and nickel cornerback, according to safety Jevon Holland. I bet you it was on safety. It's at safety too, by the way, on the deep route. But did I not call Gavin Hardison? Did I not say this would exactly happen? Oh my God, the first observation of the first open OTA to local media, and here we go. I love it. Anthony Walker, because I watched the film on the guy. I know he's got a good deep ball. I know he's got crazy arm strength. Like, I know what, it's just when you put on the pads and we get into the real situations, his decision-making and his processing isn't exactly, something to write home about. Anthony Walker tipped an over-the-middle throw for Skylar Thompson high in the air and then came down with an interception on 7-on-7 action. Holland also nearly had an interception on Skylar Thompson. So, wide receiver. And remember, that was the guy. A lot of these people who hate Tua were telling you, Skylar Thompson's the answer. He's a starting quarterback. And right out of the way, the kid with the big arm from UTEP looks better than Thompson in the Underwear Olympics. Oh, I love it. Eric Isakama back from the neck ailment that put him on the non-football injury list for most of 2023. Made several catches, especially on slants over the middle. Beautiful. And the same was true for tight end Julian Hill. There was a botched snap exchange between Jack Driscoll and quarterback Mike White. So they are trying Jack Driscoll at center? What does that tell you? Read that. They are cross-training Jack Driscoll at center? That cannot be your answer, gentlemen. Please, God, no. That's where we're at. We're now cross-training Jack Driscoll. I told you the depth is a serious issue. Yeah, Scotty, Gavin Hardison is throwing. He threw a 45-yard touchdown to Jody Fortson today. Look at this. Jack Driscoll taking center snaps? Come on. Along with Chubb and Phillips, fellow edge rusher Chubb Robinson, cornerback Cam Smith, and outside linebacker Cameron Good were seen working on the side of practice. Okay. Orange jersey updates. Dolphins linebacker David Long. He wore the first orange jersey of OTAs on Monday. And Kohu had that honor today. I got a 3 Takes episode that I'm finally going to get around to doing. Sorry, I've had some stuff going on the last couple of days that I'll finally get to uploading tonight. We'll talk a little about Kader Kohu and that. But it's given to any previous practices player of the day, and assistant Mike McDaniel started when he joined the Dolphins 2 off seasons ago. Long earned the first orange jersey Monday for his work during phase 2 of the offseason program. And there you go. Kohu had it today. So that is what the Sun Sentinel, what they observed at training camp, at OTAs today. And listen, nice to see Eric Isakama out there doing his thing. That's a big time positive. All right, huge stuff. Seeing Eric Isakama out there making plays, making it happen, that's a positive. Huge. I'm interested in Chop Robinson and Cam Smith, what they're dealing with, why they're on the sideline. That's interesting, to say the least. Long list of players not there today. We talked about it earlier, but Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, OBJ, Mostert, Taron Armstead, Jalen Ramsey, Kendall Fuller, Zach Sealer, Shaq Barrett, and Tagovailoa did not participate today. Hey, that's what the observations are from the Sun Sentinel. Now, this is what the Miami Herald observed today. Dolphins' first open OTA session lacks star power, but an impressive play, says Omar Kelly. The Miami Dolphins' first practice of the offseason that's open to the media lacked star power since most of the team's frontline players were absent or sidelined by injuries during this voluntary session. Tua Tagovailoa skipping the work to attend Nick Saban's charity golf tournament. The Mike White-led practice, which was Miami's second of the offseason helmets, featured a ton of short passes. It also included one impressive interception from Anthony Walker, who tipped a White pass intended for tight end in the air and pulled it down to create a turnover. Tuesday's practice also featured a pair of impressive first down runs from tailback Jeff Wilson Jr. Took advantage of a defensive line that was working without Jalen Phillips, who was walking with an extremely noticeable limp caused by the Achilles heel injury suffered in November. Bradley Chubb, who's 5 months into rehabbing the ACL tear he suffered in December, and defensive tackle Zach Sealer, whose reasoning for his absence was unknown. Wilson, who took a pay cut this offseason, remain in Miami, where he's competing with Salvon Ahmed, Chris Brooks, and Jalen Wright for playing time behind Mostert and Achane, was a top offensive performer for Tuesday's OTA session. So there you go. Wright was throwing up, and Wilson was more impressive. I've told all y'all, I think Salvon Ahmed is going to be the odd man out, and they're going to try and slide Chris Brooks into the practice squad. It's going to be Mostert, Achane, Wright, and Jeff Wilson. I mean, Barry Jackson let us know weeks ago when he dropped a nugget that from what he's understanding, Jeff Wilson's going to be sticking around. So some observations from OTAs. Channing Tindall, the Dolphins' 2022 fourth-round pick, has been a massive disappointment in his first 2 NFL seasons. But the 6'2", 236-pound inside linebacker was moving like a safety during Wednesday's sessions. There was one play where the former Georgia standout ran down a tailback in the backfield for what would have been a loss on a quick check down pass to the sidelines. Now we didn't see that from the Sun Sentinel. That's a big-time positive. Right? Walker's addition to the inside linebacker unit hint that Tindall has an uphill battle remaining on Miami's 53 unless he starts diagnosing players quicker or becomes a standout special teams contributor. Tier Tart is viewed as a defensive tackle added this offseason with the best shot at becoming a starter, but the 50-year veteran trailed all of his peers significantly during wind sprints the defensive lineman ran at the end of the practice. Tart, who's listed at 6'2", 304 pounds, seemingly needs to work on his conditioning. Rookie quarterback Gavin Hardison threaded the needle in the middle of the field for a 20-yard pass to tight end Jody Fortson, who signed with Miami this offseason after spending the past 5 seasons in Kansas City. Rookie safety Patrick McMorris, who's listed at 6 foot, 206 pounds, fills out his pads well and moved well during Wednesday's session. McMorris' development will be critical to Miami's secondary because Elijah Campbell is the only veteran safety behind Jevon Holland and Jordan Poyer, the 2 projected starters. With newly signed center Aaron Brewer working on the side with trainers, Dolphins were forced to have non-traditional centers handle snaps on Wednesday. And Jack Driscoll had 2 quarterback-to-center exchange issues that could have led to fumbles that became turnovers. The Dolphins traditionally cross-train interior offensive linemen to play center, which happens to be the position that Eichenberg started at most last season. Devon Achane beat Poyer badly getting downfield on a wheel route that would have produced a big gain if not a touchdown. While there's some concern about how much speed Poyer has at the ripe age of 33, Achane happens to be one of the NFL's fastest players. Chop Robinson, the former Penn State pass rusher, was held out of Wednesday's work for undisclosed reasons. He was wearing a compression sleeve on his left leg. Cam Smith, who struggled to get on the field as a Dolphins 2023 second-round pick, was sidelined with an undisclosed injury. Participating in these sessions would be beneficial for the former South Carolina standout because Jalen Ramsey and Kendall Fuller aren't participating. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, OBJ were not in attendance. Braylon Sanders and Chris Brooks did a rehab assignment before practice that they didn't participate in. And Jonnu Smith also participated in a rehab assignment but didn't practice with the offense. So, listen, a positive play from Channing Tindall? I'll take it. Hey, not bad. Jeff Wilson Jr. being the best offensive player today? Who would have thought that one? So, interesting takeaways from Omar Kelly and the Miami Herald regarding practice today. So, let's get into something that happened after practice. Jevon Holland. You know, I think he was joking around, but there's always some truth in jokes. And this is what Jevon Holland had to say regarding his contract situation.
Before the season starts?
I mean, it'd be great to get it done. I mean, it's on my mind. Like, obviously, you know.
He's also he's represented by Athletes First, remember.
I mean, it's going to come when it's going to come. I'm still, you know, getting paid, still on payroll and whatnot. Still employed, so just keep on, you know, playing ball and whatnot, and then let the chips fall where they may.
You're still getting paid.
Have you gone to Chris and say, hey, I'd really love to get something done, or you just leave it all up to your agent?
I mean, it's implied that obviously I'm trying to get paid. I mean, shit. But, yeah, it's up to my agent. I told him, let me know when negotiations start, and then go from there. But I'm not going to let it affect the day-to-day. Like I said, man, I'm just trying to focus on ball. That's why I got agents, so that they can handle that. So I don't got to, you know, go up there and negotiate and whatnot. It's really no point because nothing that I say is going to end up getting them to pay me faster. I mean, I would hope they want to pay me as fast as possible, but, you know, their process is their process, and I'm going to just keep on doing my thing and focusing on golf and fishing. And
it's a pretty good summer.
Yeah, you know what I mean? If they want to pay me, they can pay me, but I'm just taking a day at a time.
What was your reaction seeing Winfield resetting that safety?
Oh man, I love that. That's my dog too, man. He deserves every bit of that. So shout out to him. Shout out to Dave, Mogetta, the GOAT. So yeah.
So it's kind of a nice.
So, I mean, you see him saying there he wants to get paid. He wants to get paid, and a couple quotes that came away from that session, right? He made, you know, he kind of made a little bit of a statement where he said, man, and I quote, man, if Tua ain't getting it done, I'm on the back burner. I don't know much. I just work here, right? That's what Jevon Holland said. Man, if Tua ain't getting it done, I'm on the back burner. So he's basically telling you that Tua domino needs to fall before I get paid. That's what he said today. Now, another interesting thing he said that wasn't in that clip, he was asked about Vic Fangio, and he said it was, quote, a complete 180 playing under Anthony Weaver's coaching style after having Vic Fangio last year. And he was asked, is it because, Weaver's been in a player's shoes before? And he said, and I quote, I just think it's the fact that he's a good person. That makes a difference. Shots continue to be fired from Jevon Holland to Vic Fangio. This man says his contract's on the back burner because of the Tua situation right now. Remember, he's represented by the same agency, right? Represented by the exact same agency. So he knows what the deal is. And on top of that, here we are with him saying and taking some shots at Vic Fangio. My God. I love it. I love it. Jevon Holland, he's not... You got to... At least he brings it to your front doorstep. You know what I mean? Finally here, I know some people on Twitter made a big deal about Jordan Poyer at Josh Allen's charity game where he said Josh Allen was the best quarterback in football. Poyer was asked about that today. And Poyer actually said Tua Tagovailoa is one of the reasons he's with the Miami Dolphins.
Whatever happens after that, we'll see. But, at least getting there, winning that AFC East, beating Buffalo twice. So I'm excited about that.
We heard what you tell Josh Allen when you're in front of him. What do you tell Tua when you see him?
I love Tua. I love Tua. That's one of the big reasons why I'm here, because, he is who he is. And look, Josh is... I've been his teammate for 7 years. I've seen so many plays that he has made to where, you could argue Aaron Rodgers, Tua, Josh, whoever you want to argue. But at the end of the day, that's my dog. I love Josh. I cannot wait to play him.
Pick him off.
But I love Tua too. And this offense is a freaking high attack, high scoring offense. And my job at the other end is to just get Tua the ball back as fast as I can to let them score some points.
So over 410 of you in the room, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. Josh Poyer basically saying Tua is one of the big reasons I am here, right? We know they're good friends off the field. Poyer's talked about it before when he was a Buffalo Bill, right? So, I expect him to have a great season. I called this. I said it on Twitter. I said it on here before the schedule was announced. I said it on here and Twitter before the schedule announced. I said it after the schedule announced. Jordan Poyer, is picking off Josh Allen this year. Quote me. And I hope it happens week 2 in primetime, baby. But it's going to happen. You watch. It's coming. He's excited. He wants to stick it to them, right? Because they basically said, we don't believe in you anymore. While Miami said, hey, man, we believe what you got left in the tank, and we believe you can come help us win a division in this defense. So, I think he wants to stick it, no diddy, to the Bills. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I'm excited to see what he does here. Listen, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Interesting things from today. Obviously, Jeff Wilson Jr. was apparently, according to Omar, the best offensive player on the field today. Channing Tindall showed some flashes. Anthony Walker had an interception. Just like I told you he would. Gavin Hardison from UTEP looked good in the underwear Olympics, so don't be shocked because I was warning y'all. Just like I warned y'all that Tua might not show up today because the media was there. Well, he wasn't the only one, as multiple Miami Dolphins, including Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, OBJ, Raheem Mostert, Jonnu Smith, Jalen Ramsey, Zach Steeler, Kendall Fuller, and Shaq Barrett did not participate today. A lot of veterans did not participate. And as far as the contract is, Adam Schefter says they are not particularly close on getting this wrapped up. But Cam Wolfe says after talking to both sides, there's no concern, and they both believe that a deal will get done before the regular season starts. So a lot to take away from the first 2 days of OTAs. I will be back tomorrow night with Richmond Webb and Mr. Ballgame. In the meantime, Patreons and channel members, look out for 3 takes. That'll be coming your way. tonight/tomorrow morning, wherever you are. And then on Thursday, me and Neil will be back for Fin Too Deep, as OTAs will continue this week and into next week. And then mandatory minicamp is January 4th, 5th, and 6th. So a lot coming your way. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Appreciate each and every one of you. Go Fins. Fins up. Whatever floats your boat. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Love you.